It's 6:02 on Tuesday, September 19th, 2023. I hereby call this meeting to order. Could you please bow your heads? Heavenly Father, we ask for your wisdom. We ask for your grace. We ask that you clear our hearts of jealousy, injustice, and make us good leaders. Make us move forward with the best interest of every resident in the city of Diamond Head. We ask that you protect all our leaders across the nation. Give them wisdom and guidance to lead this country. With this and all our personal intentions, we ask of you, Lord Jesus, to please help us. Thank you, and please keep everyone in your prayers. Amen.
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 Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk.
Mayor DeBrio.
Here.
Councilmember Finley.
Here.
Councilmember Lisi.
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland.
Here.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Marr.
Here.
I'm going to move to adjust the agenda, so we got a motion to move to adjust. Under presentation agenda, we're going to add a proclamation affirming that September is the National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Under consent agenda, we're going to add item 17, 2023-333, motion to approve change order number 1 to the contract with JLB Contractors, LLC, in the amount of $236,800 for the total contract price of $816,122 for the Diamond Head East retention and the Lily Pond dredging project. Number 18, 2023-334, a motion to accept substantial completion of the Diamond Head Drive East retention and Lily Pond project as of July 3rd, 2023. Number 19, 2023-335, a motion to approve final payment in the amount of $249,283.10 to JLB Contractors, LLC, for the Diamond Head Drive East Retention and Lily Pond dredging project. Number 20, motion 2023-336, a motion to approve budget amendment 2023-011. 21, a motion to approve the docket of claims DKT 231095 in the amount of $249,283.10. Under action agenda, number 22, 2023-336, a motion to discuss recycling. Could I get a motion to approve as amended? I made a motion. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
And I know y'all all caught all of that, right? The next regular meeting of the City Council will be held on October 3rd, 2023 at 6 p.m. in the council chambers located at City Hall. The annual Paddle Paradise event will be held Saturday, September 23rd at the Southside Kayak Launch. Participants may register in advance on the city's website or on site registration beginning at 8 a.m. the morning of the event. The 11th annual Blessing of the Classics will be held Wednesday, October 4th from 1 to 7 at City Hall. Cruisers, live music, and food on the town green. Cruisers parade to the Blessing Circle will be from 4 to 5. So expect 4 to 5, a complete roundabout of the cruisers, and be outside watching. This is a wonderful day in Diamond Head. If you haven't done it, you definitely need to be part of the cruising. Open mic with Councilman Marr down here on the end. That'll be happening Thursday night, this Thursday, 9/21/2023 at 6 p.m. in the gazebo. So we will have Wes.
Wes Sandiford as our
Okay.
host musician.
So Wes Sandiford will be out there. He plays awesome music. And while that is going on, the Diamond Head Lions Club will be inside the activity room holding Bonko Night. This is the first time that they're getting back with the Bonko, so City Hall is going to be rocking on Thursday night starting at 6 o'clock. Proclamation proclaiming September 17th through the 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week. Whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 276th anniversary of drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official resignation to this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize the patriotic celebrations which will commence this occasion, and whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through September 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, we, the City of Diamond Head, do proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. And in Diamond Head, we ask that our citizens to reaffirm the ideas of the farmers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused a seal with the City of Diamond Head to be affixed this 19th day of September of the year of our Lord, 2023. So would you like to come forth and accept this proclamation? You want to come up and stand? City Clerk, I need you to sign two of these. That's okay.
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be in touch. Thank you. Proclamation affirming that September is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Whereas the City of Diamond Head affirms that National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month promotes awareness and the importance of tending to our mental health, and it is essential and acknowledges that those living with mental health disabilities are deserving of care, understanding, compassion, and pathways to hope, healing, recovery, fulfillment, and inclusivity. And whereas when mental well-being is centered and promoted, the risk of suicide is decreased. And whereas September was declared as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in 2008, and the years since, September has been a time to acknowledge those affected by suicide, to raise awareness and connect individuals with suicide treatment and support services that are needed. And according to the CDC, each year more than 41,000 individuals die from suicide, leaving behind family, friends, colleagues, and community members to navigate the traumatic impacts of loss. And whereas in 2021, more than 48,000 people died by suicide in the United States, equaling approximately one death every 11 minutes. 12.3 million adults seriously throughout about suicide. 3.5 million adults made a plan, and 1.7 million adults attempted suicide. Provisionary CDC data shows that the number of suicide deaths in 2022 is the highest recorded. And whereas suicide is a serious public health problem that can have lasting harmful effects on individuals, families, and communities, there are many factors that contribute to suicide. The goal of suicide prevention is to reduce factors and increase risk and increase factors that promote resilience. And whereas suicide risk have become more significant concern over the past years as we navigate global pandemic, adjust to new normal, experienced complex trauma, loss, and grief, and endured increased isolation, unemployment, and many other distressing life events. The City of Diamond Head emphasizes the importance of all employees and community taking time to center themselves and do the things necessary to promote their mental health and well-being. Encourage staff and community to refuel ourselves through utilizing tools, education, and resources offered to enable us to practice self-care and self-mental wellness. And the City of Diamond Head supports suicide prevention awareness as an important social movement to help people with mental health disabilities understand that they are not alone in their experience. Raising suicide prevention awareness can help create understanding, create access to resource, promote awareness, and is essential to intervening and potentially saving lives. And we all need to feel empowered, confident, and competent to be the ones to reach out to those in crisis. The suicide state can be very complex, and that makes connecting with someone difficult. But by increasing awareness and promoting the need for support, we can have an impact. If we can connect with someone in crisis, we can save a life. Now, therefore, we, the City of Diamond Head, do hereby proclaim September 2023 to be National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month in Diamond Head, and we encourage people to join us increasing our knowledge and providing support to those in need to save lives, not just in September, but every day. All right, now moving along with the agenda. City Manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Very short tonight. Just a few projects that we have going on currently. The Park 10 Road, that construction started on September the 5th. The contract for that is 270 days and should end currently at June 1st. This is phase 1 of our commercial district transformation project. If any of you have driven out past the circle there on Noma Drive, you would see where that road has started, going through the woods there. It should be a beautiful road once they finish. Noma Drive restoration, the contractor started on September the 11th. That contract's for 150 days and is currently scheduled to end on February the 7th. Right now, they're working on the multimodal path that goes down the side of the road, and then they'll start working on the actual restoration of the road itself. Past the circle, they'll have to do a lot of work to redo the entire road bed, and then the rest of it will be an overlay from here down to the circle. And that is phase 2 of our commercial district transformation project. Phase 4 paving, we did a final walkthrough last week on that project, and substantial completion documents were issued, and I'll get those to you on the next agenda for approval. The punch list for that project was also completed. There were 2 little small areas that need to be worked on as far as paving goes, and the rest of the punch list was all about painting and striping the road and putting up stop bars. So they're working on those with the subcontractor to get all that done. Diamond Head Drive, the notice to proceed is set for October the 9th. This will pave the entire Diamond Head Drive north, east, and west. They'll be removing the 2 lanes on Diamond Head Drive east and installing the multimodal lane all around the loop to match everything else. So that'll be a great project once we get all that worked out. The McKeekee Drive project is advertising currently, and bids are due on September the 25th. We hope to have a notice to award on the October 3rd agenda, if everything goes well when we receive those bids in. And then lastly is our ARPA/Go Mesa projects. Currently, engineers are working on several of those projects right now, and with priorities focusing on Colo Court and Kaliki, and then Hilo Street, or Hilo Way. So those are all getting worked on, and as soon as we get some designs back, we'll get those to you to review and get some bids out for those projects.
Okay, so thank you, City Manager, for the report. I have a few questions. First of all, item number 11, a motion to authorize the city manager to allow the Diamond Head Property Owners Association to use barricades as needed for purposes of traffic control. Is this like ongoing, perpetual? What exactly does this mean?
Well, specifically, they asked for it. They have a golf tournament coming up this weekend, and they would like to use those barricades for that purpose. But we kind of wrote it this way so that if there's any other events, specific events that they will need it, it'll all be for traffic control with using our barricades for that purpose.
Okay, for traffic control. Diamond Head Water Sewer District letter dated July 11, 2023. At the last meeting I had asked, they had a secondary concern for the fishing pier, and now we just have concerns about buying the property and is it usable. So as designated or illustrated, construction of any type within a utility easement, did we check with Kenichi Engineering that did the survey? Did you find out if there is an easement recorded?
Kenichi's survey did not show one on their paperwork that they had.
Okay. Then it says in the letter, as with all manholes within the district system, access is critical and the manholes serve as a relief point for the entire sanitary sewer system, floods, events, blocked lawns by serving as an overflow point. The manhole at Twin Lakes has numerous documented events in which the manhole has failed to serve as has had to serve as a relief point. So we all know, if you're in the engineering world, that a manhole is not a relief point. A manhole is an access and a series of sewer mains so that you can get in and do cleanouts. They're not made for the lead to pop off and overflow. Did you have a chance to check and see how many bypass reports were made? And a bypass report is something that is required by the Mississippi State Department of Environmental Quality to be filed in the event of a sewer overflow. So sewer's going to accidentally overflow at some point, so you file a report, and it's called a bypass report.
I understand. I was not asked to do that, so no, I did not.
Okay, and I thought I had mentioned, but that's okay. So a resident did send me an email. They had asked for a bypass report for this specific manhole from a period between 2019 and present, and there was only one recorded event in all those years, one bypass report. So can we look into, knowing that there's only one documented report, so that makes the property look a lot better than we're all envisioning. It sounded like it was, sewer overflowing. Can we do more research on that to see where we are? All right. And that's all I had. Thank you. To my left, Councilman Moore, Councilman Clark.
Yeah, I was over on Canoa Way this past Friday, and I see where they're hauling off a lot of the debris over there. Do you know if they've completed that yet? And is that city doing that? Over on Canoa Way on the south side, hauling all the trees and stuff off?
No, that is not. That is actually the contractor who did the original work there. He has started hauling all that material off himself.
If you look at some of the trees that were left standing, I mean, a lot of them were just so nicked up, and
Right.
I'm sure they're gonna die too from the equipment going through there. You can just see it pretty easily.
Right.
For long, they won't have any trees on it. But anyway, I just didn't know if that was us or them doing that. And also, are they doing some striping on Diamond Head Drive north or west today?
You saw that too? No, that would be the water and sewers where they did the repaving. So they're striping what their repaving project was.
So that's water and sewer?
Yes, that's
Okay.
water and sewer. They're probably also doing some stop bars and everything else that you may see throughout the city. But We're currently only striping Bayou Drive and then Golf Club Drive. And then the other cul-de-sacs that we paved, they'll be putting stop bars in.
And anything new on the Yellow House?
Unfortunately,
somebody
no.
asked, I might as well get it
No,
out of the way.
I drove by it today and looked at it again, and yes, there doesn't seem to be any action happening on there, but I'll reach back out to the attorney, or I'll have Derek reach out to their attorney and see where they are with that.
Okay, that's all, thanks.
All right, any questions to my right, starting with Councilman Finley? Councilwoman Lisi?
I'm okay.
Councilman Cumberland?
Yeah, I had a question. John, today I had a resident call about Diamond Head Drive East. But the areas, you and I talked about it, road cuts there. He said that they were filling those in with asphalt today. Is that part of what you were just talking about with the water district?
Yes, that was the water and sewers cuts, and I did actually drove over that way as well today and noticed that they were fixing the one at the end of Mauna Loa Way or whatever it is, and then also Diamond Head Drive East. So they're
Okay.
just putting the rest of that in. I guess either that was the first lift and this is the final lift they were putting on that project.
Great. Is that an area that we're planning on paving during our,
We will be paving it, but it'll be a simple, just kind of a scratch mill and then just pave over what we're doing there. So.
any idea when that's going to start?
October the 9th is our planned date for them to get started on that whole project, and my thought is that we start here at the circle at Diamond Head Drive East and go that direction, counterclockwise sort of, to work that area.
Okay. They give you a period of time that they think that's?
We haven't had a pre-con meeting to discuss that, to get a timeline. Well, I shouldn't say that. We had a pre-con meeting, but they didn't give me a timeline yet
Okay.
on where they're gonna work.
I believe that's all I have, Mayor.
It's a 260 contract, isn't it? 260 days? Mm-hmm. That's a long time. All right, moving right along. I'm going to be nice tonight, and I'm going to do non-agenda public comments early. Miss Penny,
What are we doing? We're changing the agenda?
we're doing public comments, non-agenda and agenda.
Okay, because I think mine is more, might be an agenda item, because it's on action agenda.
It is an agenda item.
Okay, I'm Penny Crawford, 7922 Apaki Place here in Diamond Head. I didn't realize this was coming up until I saw it just this afternoon. Motion for discussion and possible action reviewing a skate park in the city of Diamond Head. I'm violently opposed to that, if that counts for anything. I don't think we need anything like that here in Diamond Head. I don't know who brought this up or where this is coming from. I've heard about it before. I think it's a huge liability for the city of Diamond Head to have that kind of activity promoted here, and to build such a big concrete bowl to put people in and attract young people in. I think if we need things for our young people, it needs to be something else. And I would love to see more basketball courts. I see that as a very popular, safe activity for young people here in Diamond Head, on Diamond Head East at East Rec. It's very, very popular, very well used, and I could see much more of that being scattered around Diamond Head. A few lights, some concrete, and some striping, and a couple of basketball goals, and I think we'd have a lot of activity for kids. It would be a lot safer than a skate park. So that's just where I am about a skate park. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Penny. Donnie? Dion. Oh, honey, I'm sorry. I made your name up. Come on up here. And are we getting a lesson in city council meetings? Okay, welcome. So who do you have with you?
These are my two sons.
Okay.
Sorry. I am very supportive of the skate park. My two boys, we visit the skate park in Mandeville often. We see people, families from Gulfport, Biloxi. They drive right by Diamond Head to go to Mandeville. There is no skate park on the coast. The closest is Wiggins in Mandeville. Goodness, I wasn't prepared.
That's okay. So I take it we love skate parks.
Yes, and
Okay. Would you all
They-
like to say, can they say something? Would you all like to say something?
Biloxi and Ocean
Mhm.
Springs are already talking about building a skate
Right,
park.
they are.
It is a popular activity.
You don't have to say anything. But is this your first city council meeting? No.
Second.
Great
Um,
job.
He's in Diamond Head School of Fine Arts, so
Okay, so
they
you
visited
came with
before.
Miss Saris. I remember when you all were here. Okay. Well,
Um,
thank you for letting us know you all want a skate park and
Yes,
y'all go to Mandeville.
It is not dangerous. We go to the one in Mandeville all the time. It's not graffitied. The bathrooms are clean. No smoking, no drinking. I don't see anything that would attract the crowd that some people envision.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, moving right on to, could I get a motion to approve the September 5th? Y'all both completed in 3 minutes. Now that is impressive. Mm-hmm. Could I get a motion to approve the September 5th, 2023 regular meeting minutes? Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. All in favor? Aye. And we're going to let that one lay there because we don't know where we're going. Resolution 2023-235, motion to adopt Resolution 2023-040, thereby establishing salaries and rates effective October 9, 2023 for the fiscal year 2024. Motion, whoops, any discussion to my left? Wait, we need a motion. What am I doing? Okay, motion. Motion, Councilman Clark, second. Second. Any seconds. Councilman Finley, any discussion to my left? Any discussion to my right? I have one question. So is any of this increased above the 3% raise that we gave? Did we change any rates?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. City Clerk.
Finley?
Yes.
Lisi?
Yes.
Cumberland?
Yes.
Clark? Lamar?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Consent agenda items 4 through 11, 17 through 21. Could I get a motion?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor? Aye. Could I get a motion, 2023-336, motion to discuss recycling? It's not an option. Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilwoman Lisi. So I'm going to start this discussion. And I'm going to read a letter, and this letter is from the Hancock County Regional Solid Waste Management Authority Board of Directors, as well as Hancock County Board of Supervisors. The Hancock County Regional Solid Waste Management Authority has explored multiple recycling options over the years. In fact, curbside recycling was considered during the last garbage collection solicitation. The authority unanimously agreed that Hancock County citizens would be agreeable that recycling services that would cost a minimum of $9 per customer and would have included every customer in the entire county, whether you opted out the program or not. The authority continued to offer the recycling containers that are currently placed throughout Hancock County. Unfortunately, household garbage disposal costs and quantities have increased, and CPI continues to climb, which ultimately left the Hancock County Board of Supervisors with the decision of having to raise taxes to cover the cost of recycling. As most of you are aware, the disposal of garbage and recycling program was historically funded by millage rate set by the county. The Board of Supervisors unanimously decided that it was not in every citizen's best interest to raise the taxes to pay for recycling when the program is only utilized by a minority of people. For informational purposes, it cost the authority nearly $1,000 per ton to recycle, but only cost $37 per ton to dispose of garbage to a landfill. The cities must now decide whether to fund recycling out of their own individual budgets. The current overall recycling budget for the authority averages $280,000 per year. The following monthly average is the cost of the recycling containers. Waveland City Hall, $4,100. Now I'm giving you monthly figures. Longfellow, City of Bay St. Louis, $4,500. Bay St. Louis City Hall, $6,510. And if Diamond Head decides to fund out of our budget, the cost for Diamond Head would be $7,750 per month. Coastal Environmental Services is willing to work directly with residents of the municipality to establish curbside recycling programs. For this program to be sustainable, CES requires that 1,500 customers, this is throughout the entire county, must sign up and prepay for the first year for the program. The cost of the program will be $33,000 per month, and the customers will pay CES directly. There will be no cost associated with the city's billing, Public Works billing, or us getting the tax assessor to bill. The authority requests that each member entity to reach out to its residents to determine if there is an interest in the program. So our discussion tonight is, and you all just received this information, I know, is if the city is interested in funding $7,750 per month to keep the recycling dumpster that's located right out here on the pad. So we can open this up for discussion.
Well, my understanding of the last paragraph is instead of having the recycling dumpster, we could ask our citizens, and if we get enough, that they'd be paying directly, and then we wouldn't need the recycling dumpsters at all, so we wouldn't have to have anything coming from the city. It would just be coming directly from the people participating. I think it's wonderful to somehow send out a survey to the people and see who is willing to participate, and if we get the minimum 1,500s to have it go, curbside, I think that would satisfy, because it does say the minimum of people use it. It's not like the majority. But if we can get 1,500, I think they would be very happy with doing it. And then we're not even on the hook for our budget for paying that much, because then we wouldn't need the dumpsters out by City Hall. So that's my 2 cents.
$33 a month
A month.
per customer is,
Steep. But it's their volition. It's not us,
that's throughout the county, we need 1,500, not just down here.
The entire county,
Diamond Head?
1,500. No, it's the entire county.
And Mayor, I know you've been at all those meetings, but it looks like, the way I read it, it would be per entity, but again, I'm not,
We may need to confirm, because I thought it was 500.
that's just, and it's funny how two people can read something and come up.
I will
but-
get an answer
but
while we're
I-
going through.
I read it as per entity, but I'll,
Okay. So,
That's $50,000, which eclipses all of these combined, so it has to be close. And obviously, individual pickups versus large containers is gonna be more expensive, so it's gonna cost double, but, it's being paid for by the people that are actually gonna do it in the first place.
okay, is there any more questions to my right? And-
I just had one. John, is this still a 3-time-a-week pickup? Do you know? Just if we continue to have the dumpster at City Hall.
If we continue to have the dumpster, yes, it would still be a three times a week.
And I know you and I
Okay.
talked a while back about possible solutions and how much would it be to pick up every day? Because our
Right.
dumpster fills up 5 minutes after it's empty, it seems like. So how much, it was what, 52,000 extra a year, I think?
There's probably somewhere in that range to add 2 more days to it, yes.
Yeah, it's expensive.
And Mayor, you're right, it's the previous email that Coastal sent was 500 members
We were
Per-
500.
Per city.
per city.
The attorney for the solid waste just replied, it's 1,500 for the 3 cities. The county will not be involved in the curbside recycling. So between Waveland, Bay St. Louis, and Diamond Head, we'll have to have 1,500 subscribers to do the 33 a month, but it is an option.
Why don't we pull people in here? We want to pay $33 a month for recycling. Would anybody do that?
You go, Ann.
great.
Okay. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Pick up once versus having to leave my house.
It's once a week.
Once a week.
Okay, so tonight we need to move forward with what we plan to do. So is it the general consensus that we don't have the $7,750 a month to fund the recycling?
Now, just so we're aware, that would actually come out of our solid waste bill, because public funds can't be used to make this or pay this. So it would just be an increase to our solid waste bill.
I don't see how we can raise that much money. That's a lot of money.
It's what, $93,000 a year, so I don't know exactly what that would cost
It's
us.
not that, what is that gonna be, $4? Not even that. I'm doing the math in my head, but that's kind of close. It's not that much. $4 for everyone versus $33 for individuals.
So not only is the cost a lot, and I'm all about recycling, so I mean, 33 I think's a lot, but we have to have an option to recycle. The other option is if the other cities opt out, Bay St. Louis has decided not to fund it, then if there's only one city that does, then everybody in the county will be coming here because we will have the only recycling dumpster and there won't be any way to man it. We won't be able to man it, so we may be paying way more than that. All right, what's our thoughts? I mean,
Ha-
If we get enough people to pay $33 a month, yeah, fine.
Has anybody asked the cities of Waveland or Bay St. Louis if they're polling their citizens to see who would be interested, if they can get the 500? Because it's like, I don't think we would be able to get 1,500 all on our own, so I think we would definitely need to have those two cities being able to do at least 500 each. And so I think the first step is to see if it's even viable to have it curbside by having, I don't know what we would do. Would we send out a mailer, or would we have a public notice published and say, come and place your vote if you want curbside recycling and pay $33?
We can do any of those things if you wish. You guide me on that one, what you would like me to do.
Can you do the electronic survey?
We could do electronic survey, but that's only for the people that have ever signed up
But
on
it might give you a good snapshot.
E-Blast. That's hard
see,
to-
we
you wouldn't know.
discussed doing the survey at the solid waste meeting, and it was said not to do it because they felt that it was never a realization. So the fact of CES, they're going to openly open it up, and everybody can go on there that wants to do it can sign up. The reason we have to decide tonight is solid waste does not have money in the budget to pay for October, so the dumpsters will be pulled at the end of September. So we have to be able to tell solid waste Thursday, is it, John?
Thursday's meeting, yes, that we're either opting in or out
Okay.
for ourselves.
After review with Ms. Jeannie Klein, we came up with the figure would be less than $2 a month per household. It's 4,100 some odd households. 7750 divided by 4,100 gives you $1.85 a month. So that's an instant option. But of course, now we just got this letter yesterday, and I realize it's short notice, but I'm sure Bay St. Louis and Wayland they may not have even seen the letter.
Bay St. Louis has voted tonight, and they're not going to continue recycling. Got a text from me. So, and the cost of it is, but something you have to look at too is adding $2 a month to everybody in Diamond Head's bill, whether you recycle or not. And there's some that don't recycle, but everybody will have to pay for it.
How much are we paying now?
$186.
Okay.
And this is $2 per month, right?
Right, so
that'd
it'd be 24.
a year.
And it won't be where it has to be a blanket across the city. Every resident will have to pay the additional cost.
What's your recommendation, John?
Gotcha.
That is a tough one, but I would have to agree with the mayor as far as if we went with this, at only $2 a month, like Shane says, it's really not that bad, but we would have the only dumpster in the county. which means everybody would.
It can't even accommodate our
Right.
Right.
It doesn't work enough now for us, and so it would just be completely full within minutes with as much overflow as they could stack out there, and that just isn't worth it for the city to have to deal with every morning.
Like you have to do every Sunday morning? Every Monday morning from Sunday. And
Much as I-
recycling is so important. It's very sad it has gotten to this.
It's the economy that's really making all of this happen, because everything's going up and our budgets are all tightening. And I am all for recycling, but I'm not for everybody getting hit with more money out of their pockets at this time. If we could somehow get the door-to-door, that would at least have the people, you know, that really, really want to pay that extra amount, which, like you said, $33 a month, that's a whopping lot. But there are some dedicated people that would be willing to pay that, but I don't know if that's
You meet a
500.
couple of neighbors and just put it on one side.
We did not hear that from Councilman
For
Clark.
$33, instead
was
of
blah,
those
blah,
little
blah, blah,
blue
blah, blah,
squares,
blah.
it should be a garbage
Static.
container full. But anyway, just for the record, I'm against us having like the only container for the county, basically. So I would vote against us getting it unless all the cities got it. And since Bay St. Louis has already opted out, and that's gonna be the number one, that in the county.
So Mayor, does the Solid Waste Authority need a motion from us? If we're gonna take this on, I think it would probably need to be a motion that, yes, we're gonna take this on, or no, we're not going to. With respect to the dumpster, and then in the future, we can look at the curbside and look at it with the different cities and see if we can find a way to get 1,500 people if they want to do it. But
And
I
I
think for
think-
tonight,
mhm.
as you said, the motion needs to be, do we want the dumpster or not at this price?
So we need a motion to say, a motion that, so I will move that we will opt out of funding the dumpster for FY '24. I'm making this up. You can help
I
me out,
second it.
council. I'm on a wing over here.
I second it.
Second made by Councilman Marr. All in favor?
Aye.
So we will work with solid waste to get where CES can get up very soon, where everybody can subscribe for the curbside at $33 a month.
That's so steep.
All right. Moving on. Motion for discussion and possible action to continue the public relations contract between the City of Diamond Head and Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to move for discussion. Could I get a second?
Second.
Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So for discussion, since Diamond Head was incorporated in 2012, we have worked very closely with the Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. They have done a tremendous job in marketing the city and advertising and reaching out all across the world, not just the United States, to help the city grow, expand economic development. Now we're moving on to a phase where we've got our new business district coming in. We've got a big commercial area. We've got the waterfront area being developed. We've got Exit 16. This is the year that everything we've been working on since 2012 is coming to life. So I just wanted to hear what was in the contract and what do you all actually do. So I'm going to put you on the spot to ask you to come up. And what did it include, and how can we continue as partners working on the marketing side?
So I'm gonna let Regan Kane, our president, just kind of open this up, and then I'll follow up with him.
Good evening. My name is Regan Kane, President of the Hancock County Chamber of Commerce. I want to thank you for the opportunity over the last 7 years to be part of your marketing and communication team. We've been fortunate to have Ann Petrie, one of our staff members. Ann is with us tonight on our team as a resource to the City of Diamond Head. Ann has specific experience working in communications with the City of Pascagoula and Ocean Springs, and has tremendous experience in this field. With the Chamber, you have access to a team of 3 professional communicators with decades of experience. One of the reasons the city first contacted the chamber in regards to, as you do with other city professional services, is to bring an expertise to you for $1,000 per month. That would cost the city far greater than a full-time position that involves paying taxes, benefits, and other expenses. I would like, allow me the opportunity to introduce Tish Williams, our executive director.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that I did speak with John earlier today, and I know the need to discontinue the PR contract is really just a budgetary issue, and no one understands this better than I do. And so, I mean, we're just simply here to say thank you for the opportunity for all of these years to be able to work with you and to provide these services to you. And we know that if you want to change the contract, or if you want to amend the contract, or if you want to look at a different contract going forward, that we are here to continue to support you to reach your goals. And so, what's happened is when we first started out, we helped you build your first website. We helped you establish your social media platforms. We helped you get your Facebook streaming going on with your meetings. And so it's just been sort of a work in progress based on the needs of the city. And over time, what has happened is as the needs for the chamber have evolved, so has your staff. And now you have a receptionist on duty who has now been providing some social media content posting, which is great, and she's doing a great job. We are also continuing to do social media posting as well, and we've even taken it a step further because what you've seen us do is because traditional media is so scarce today, we have now become the media company for Hancock County. And so whenever you're out there doing ribbon cuttings or groundbreakings, or you've got a breaking story about a project that you're working on, then we come to you and through video, we interview you. In fact, Nancy has been a great spokesperson for the city, and we then take that content and we push it out on all of the social media platforms, and then we become like a media source for you that you wouldn't have in-house. Otherwise, we're using our expertise and our equipment to do that. So that's just some of the things that we do. We are a full-service marketing agency, so there are other things that we could do for you, like design for print and digital communications, video productions, photography, media relations, and so on. We also have access to Cision, which is something that the Chamber has invested in, and our Adobe Creative Suite, which is a $7,000 annual investment that we have put in place that you can take advantage of. And then at minimum, what we are doing is we're spending about 4 hours per week on communication services for the city of Diamond Head. That's just at minimum. So if you took that and you said, okay, well, I'm going to adjust your contract and I'm just going to do like an hourly rate with you, then if you took just what we minimally do for you, that would equate to like a $26,000 annual contract. Right now, your annual contract is $12,000 a year. And certainly, technology has revolutionized the way that local governments communicate with their residents. And you have always prioritized communications because it is crucial to what you do in building trust and making sure that your citizens are fully informed of what you're doing. So we are there to continue to help you achieve those goals should your budget allow. And I know that that's not the case here. But if that should change, we just want you to know that we are here for you, and we're here to continue to provide those services and even look at adjusting the contract that will help you continue to meet your goals and also to be within your budgetary restrictions.
Well, thank you. Is there any questions?
Yeah, would it be possible to be partnered with you on demand for, like, let's say Cruising the Coast, that we would want your expertise for that week, and then maybe again at Christmas, and then again, so instead of it being year-round and all the time, would it be possible to just do an on-demand type of contract where,
We're willing to work with you in whatever way you need our support. That's what we're here for. And, you know, we understand, you know, the budget constraints and so on. But if you've got, you know, a need, we're here to provide the service. So I would say that what we would want to do is, if you wanted to do it that way, is to sit down and design the plan for the year and say, here's where we need your help. And then we can come back to you with, and this is the budget that you would need to be able to allocate for us to be able to deliver that service for you. And if that would work for you, we're certainly willing to custom design that for you to make it work.
Maybe having a retainer fee with y'all or something?
Well, right now, you do have a retainer fee of $1,000 per month. So what we're now talking about is actually custom designing, like, okay, we need y'all to do 4 media promotions or communication promotions throughout the year. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4, this is what we want. How many hours of time is that going to take, and what will you charge for that service?
Okay, so John, can you work with the chamber and see if we can come out with a specific plan? Because their resources they have, we don't have. You know,
Certainly.
they have resources, they have abilities, and y'all have done a tremendous job. We can't thank you
Well,
enough.
we thank you for giving us the opportunity to be
And
of
we're
service
sorry
to
the
you.
budget is just the budget.
We understand.
Mhm.
But please remember, we are still a member of the chamber.
Right,
That is
we
not,
are.
that is not an issue.
Exactly.
That does not change.
Right, no, and we thank you for that. And, you know, this has been a very positive relationship. It's been one of the really best relationships that we've had with our corporate sponsors and with our governmental entities. And, you know, we just want it to continue in whatever form it can to help you achieve your goals and also be within your budget.
Excellent. All
Thank
right,
you.
any other questions or comments?
Thank you for being such a good partner. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think
So-
that Councilmember Marr had a great idea, and so,
Fantastic.
yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Until we get back where budgetary constraints are not
Mhm.
where they are, and hopefully we get back to where we were.
I think it's a great idea, and we'd be happy to work with John on that.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you, you all as well. So, motion for discussion and possible action reviewing a skate park for the city of Diamond Head. I'm going to move for discussion. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Marr. And I will start this discussion if y'all do not mind. So, the want and the need has been expressed by our residents for a skate park. Community involvement in the 2040 comprehensive plan included a skate park as an expressed demand for a recreational facility. A Facebook post on residents of Diamond Head in 2021 had over 200 likes, and the interest continued. I have received many calls, texts, emails wanting this project in Diamond Head. Young people need to feel that they are recognized and appreciated by their communities. Skate parks build and sustain healthy communities. As a gathering place for dedicated athletic youth, the skate park provides a forum for visitors, young and old, beginning and skilled, to meet and share experiences. In 2002, Tony Hawk Foundation was founded, and now it is the Skate Park Project. It is now called the Skate Park Project. To date, the foundation has awarded over $10 million to more than 600 public skate park projects in all 50 states, including one here on the Gulf Coast located at IG Levy Park in Pascagoula. We have a developer that is ready to donate the property for the city skate park. We just need to look for grant funding. So my discussion item is, can we find grant funding? And we did reach out to the city's insurance. There is an email, do you remember? Yes, and it said that it would not impact the city's insurance, as I recall the email for the skate park. Okay, yes. So with that being said, I would like to look for grant opportunities, ask the city manager to look and see if we can find any grant opportunities. We do have a developer that reaffirmed today that he will donate the property for the skate park, and I will give the city manager the name of this developer that will have the property, which will dictate how much of a skate park we could build. And I know nothing about skate parks, so I do know kids love them, and that it was the number 6 most wanted thing in Diamond Head. So, any discussion to my left?
Yeah, I have I'm like Penny, I have a little bit of a negative attitude towards a skate park, and one of the things is that Gulfport had a skate park, and it completely shut down after like 3 years. And as Penny said, I think while there might be interest in having a skate park, I think there would also be interest in having more ball fields and more basketball courts. And it's a matter of where we're going to focus on first. Not that there should never be a skate park, but I was actually thinking ahead of a skate park. I think we need an indoor recreation thing where we have a building with basketball courts inside that could be turned into an all-purpose. You could do indoor other events in there. First and foremost, in my mind, because what do you do when it's raining? What do you do when the season's too hot that you can't be outdoors? So if we're going to focus on something, I see a skate park at some future point, but I don't think this is the right time with the inflation rates and everything going on now.
If we're going to say once, I would love an indoor facility. I'd love a sports complex, but we're talking about a small little skate park.
Well, when my kids were growing up, I had 5 of them I was taking to a skate park over in Gulfport. And they enjoyed the heck out of it. I was worried about them breaking their bones and stuff like that. But that never happened. But we had, they had a lot of fun, but it only lasts for a little while, but then you have the next set of kids growing up, eventually, they may outgrow it or whatever, but all I know is we spend a lot of money on skateboards, the helmets, the pads and all that kind of stuff. And, but just driving over to Gulfport, it was just kind of got to us after a little while, I guess. So I really don't know how it would go over here in Diamond Head. I mean, I'm not against it. Like I said, my grandkids would probably go to it. I'd probably take them to it if we had one. So I'm definitely not against it. So, but my kids did enjoy it.
Definitely our music host, Wes Sandiford, is all for it.
We all want to see Wes out there skateboarding. Any comments to my right?
I had a question. So we don't know yet whether it will affect our insurance, the city's insurance?
I recall an email, which I can look real quick, that it said it would not.
That's hard to.
I know, I thought so as well.
That's hard to
This
believe.
was many years ago. We worked on it. We did.
I want to know about that before we decided to do anything. Yeah, and that's great that we have a generous developer, and I understand you don't want to say who it is, but can you say where we're talking about, what location?
I think I found the email on the,
I know you sign a waiver, I'm sure, but still, it seemed like somebody would have to be responsible anyways.
How those things would work.
it said,
I'll do some research.
Here's an email from Mike Russo dated 3/29/2021. See the email strand below from the insurance. I think it is still positive for us to consider. It appears insurance premiums or added risk will not be a concern as I read it. So check your
That's-
email, March of 2021.
And Mayor, that's similar to what we found with the ball fields at the end of Noma.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure we had in place when we got that done, was to just make sure, as we're figuring other things out, the insurance you have to make sure they're on notice that you've got the facility, that what you're doing there, and they just roll it into your policy.
Can we verify?
But we would certainly, absolutely, and this would be a different use, and things may have changed since then, but we would certainly look into it.
Okay,
And we can ask our insurer now before we even have the site.
Oh, definitely. You
And
can
then
ask now.
What about the location?
The location, I'm going to have to let the city manager get with the developer. He's got lots of properties, so he will be specific. That same developer did send a text today saying he would love to help the city with the dog park, and he does have property. Another developer has reached out and says they have 2 acres of wooded property. I mean, all the property we've had to pick from has not been good locations. The 2 that you have coming to you this week is perfect location. So life has turned around on the dog park. So, and that developer also said that he went to Houston and saw dog park equipment, and he's very excited to sit down next week and discuss it. All right, so can we just look at the insurance and if there's grants available?
Seems like there would be, wouldn't
The one that I mentioned to you has funded a skate park in 50 states, including the one in Pascagoula. And it's now, it was the Tony Hawk Foundation is now called the Skate Park Project.
So we're exploratory at this point.
Yes, it was just a motion for discussion.
Is the developer exclusively talking about a skate park, or is it maybe a basketball skate park, a youth park, or?
He was talking specifically about the skate park. He was actively involved in 2021 with it. And then also mentioned the dog park. Okay,
If anybody wants to champion anything, I'm all for it.
that's what I say. Where are you? Yes. So moving along, are we finished discussing that? Okay. So now, motion to dissolve all existing city committees and the formation of any future committees will be at the discretion of the city manager. Motion
Move.
by Councilman Cumberland, second.
Second.
Councilwoman Lisi. Discussion to my left.
Okay, so all existing city committees. Okay, how many do we have?
Currently, the only one that the council has created is the dog park committee left.
Okay, so these are formed by the council, okay. So there's one.
Can I ask a question? So does a committee dissolve if it doesn't have enough members? I mean, is there a minimum committee number that we have on the books?
I would say
Because it seems
no.
to me if you have a committee and the first week, let's say 4 people come, and after that nobody comes but one, that's not a committee anymore.
I would say no. I mean, once the council has created a committee, it's always a committee, I would think, yeah. And
Okay,
it just
just-
needs to be dissolved after.
I think going forward, we probably should have like what it takes for a quorum at a committee or something like that. Only because otherwise the one person could be, me doing everything.
As you can see, the dog park committee has many members. I thought we did an open mic committee.
And except for the first week, nobody came back.
So we do have a steering committee with a motion made for the open mic.
That has been dissolved.
You dissolved your committee?
Well, because nobody came but me.
We were there with you, Gerard.
No, we're
We
doing
were
this.
there with you in
We're
the
not-
same
we're not-
room.
We're not talking about the actual
We
music.
did
We're
dual
talking about the
committee
talking about
action.
it. It was just me.
Okay, any comments to my right?
Yes.
Let's start at the
Well, since
end,
he made the
Councilman.
motion, shouldn't he?
Well, no, we already started to the left, so we're starting to the right. Councilman Finley? Councilwoman?
I would like to
Okay.
give you.
Send yours to,
Mhm.
okay, so she's waving her right and sent it to Councilman Cumberland.
You should have gone first, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if we
Yeah.
went by the actual rules of debate.
We
have
always
an
go
ordinance
left and
for it,
right.
Which is wrong,
Okay, well, that's how we do it.
which is wrong.
Well, I
So,
run the meeting, so that's how we do it. But go ahead.
so the first question I had is for Derek. So when we create a public committee, or a committee, when the city creates a committee, are they a public body?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are gonna get into some weeds here, but I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of give you guys, my 3-second thoughts, my 2-cent thoughts on these committees. So they are created by the city, so they do have to follow certain rules, which is, the meetings have to be open to the public, they've got to have agendas, they've got to keep minutes. So those are things that just by nature that they've got to have. If there is a committee that is not created by the council and they're just doing their thing, they're not subject to those same rules. So, that's, I think, the crux of what your motion was getting at, if I can say that, is where does the city want to go with this? Continuing a committee, do they have to have, the mayor's point I know I'm all over the place here. The mayor's point is a concern
I
about
have a lot of
liability.
points, but
So
let's hear 'em.
And, you know, what we discussed right before the meeting is
Mm-hmm.
the mayor's concern is on a liability front. John, your concern is on a public record front and on making sure we're following the rules. Both of them are valid concerns. So the issue, if we've got a committee, they've got to follow those rules. We've talked about that before. They've just got to follow those rules. Their records are subject to public record requests. They've got to follow open meeting rules. So, you know, we don't want to have a situation where we're getting an ethics complaint because they may or may not be following the rules. On a liability standpoint, as the mayor and I discussed, we've got a little bit of a disagreement. If it's a city event, if we're doing Dog Park Day, if we're doing a dog parade, and it's a city-sponsored event, whoever's there, the city's insurance is covering that event. There, you know, so, but if there's a committee just meeting and discussing, hey, we think the dog park should be here, or wouldn't it be great to have a fountain, or, you know, we need more fire hydrants, whatever it is. In my opinion, there's no liability there. Anybody can do that. I mean, 3 residents can get together tomorrow and discuss the dog park, but they're not taking action on behalf of the city. They're not subject to those requirements. You'll recall when we had the whole senior center discussion. At one point, that initially was set up by the city. But at one point, when they went and got their own, set up their own LLC, nonprofit, got their own insurance, that's when the city cut ties and said, great, you guys are on your own, you're standing on your own feet. The purpose of these 2 committees was different. The purpose of the senior center was to establish a ongoing center, senior village. The dog park committee, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is their job, they've been tasked with advising the council and saying, hey, here's what we think. We're going to do, some fundraising. Here's what we think. Here's our ideas on what where the dog park should be. And then once the dog park is established, it's a city park, and I mean, we're done. So those are kind of, from a legal perspective, those are the kind of things that I'm thinking about as we discuss all this.
I'm a little concerned that you said a committee has to follow the open meeting rules. Doesn't that mean that you're not allowed to discuss things outside the committee with more than, like we do as the council, with more than 2 members or whatever, and, otherwise you have a...
You all are subjected to that, but I mean, the committee members themselves, I mean, it's not a hard and fast thing, and this is kind of a developing topic. I mean, when I first became city attorney, there was never discussions at MML about, committees. But you see more and more, it's becoming, as more cities are looking to kind of engage residents, it's becoming more and more of an issue. So, it was kind of eye-opening to me just a couple of years ago when city attorneys started talking about, hey, remember to advise your cities that when these committees are meeting, got to have minutes, got to have agendas, got to do all this. And so, Shane, I talked to you, about some other entities and, that you've been involved with where they're like, oh man, I don't think we've been doing that. I'm not trying to tattle on anybody, but, it's kind of an evolving process. But that's the concern. So there can still be a dog park committee, whether it's part of the city or not. If it is part of the city, they've got to follow those rules. So that's
why I made the motion is I talked to Amanda today, and we had a conversation about this, and I just feel like not only would it protect the city, which is, I feel my first obligation, I think everyone sitting up here is their obligation to protect the city first, but I think it benefits anyone on the dog park committee because it gives them a lot more freedom to not be subject to all these rules that we are. We have an attorney, a city clerk, a city manager to advise us, and we utilize that, and I don't know. I just think it would really help the dog park committee if they were not a committee that was sponsored by the city. So that's why I made the motion. It's not to dissolve the dog park committee at all. I mean, it shouldn't have any effect over the dog park committee. They should still be able to act just as they are.
Absolutely.
But easier.
With less requirements.
Exactly.
Because at this point, hasn't there been a public records request that has gone unfulfilled because we couldn't fill it because we weren't, are there minutes for all the meetings?
There's a public records request that hasn't been paid for, so we're asking for an AG's opinion on that.
Well,
Are you gonna speak now? I mean, you're going, or is it your turn to speak?
I mean, I don't know,
If-
you're running the meeting, you said.
No, I was just wondering.
Oh.
So,
Mayor,
mhm.
I was looking at the public records, the model public record rules earlier today, and Jeannie and I were talking about it. And I actually have a little bit of extra knowledge about this because I had to do it on behalf of another client last week with regard to a state entity. In this situation, I do believe that the dog park committee does have to respond to a public records request. And in doing so, they might not be able to charge for their time other than only for the lowest paid employee for the city. And they can also make a copy, they can also, we can charge, I believe the max is 15 cents per copy. However, if there are documents that are readily available that we have easy access to, such as minutes, which I'm not taking the dog park. I don't know if you have minutes for the dog park, but minutes for the city, those are posted on the website. Or some maps, things that we have here on site, then we could say, come on down, we'll let you sit at this table right here and you can look at these documents at no charge. So the bigger issue also that I get concerned about is with regard to the Public Records Act. If an arm of the city, and at this point, where we are, the Dog Park Committee is an arm of the city. If work is done on private computers, because we talked about that a little bit earlier today, if work is done on private computers, then under the Public Records Act, and I can cite you to the record if you'd like me to, but under that, we are required to have those documents from private computers submitted to the city regularly, and if not regularly, then upon request.
So has the city ever requested that? No.
Well, it's my understanding that was requested with the public records request. I think.
Okay, well, I think there's a cost associated, and that's what our concerns are. But you could reaffirm there is a cost that can be associated with the public records request.
No, just to be clear, what I said was if documents are readily available, which they should be in minutes and things of that nature, then there would not be a cost to provide those to someone. If documents are not readily available, then the cost would not exceed. Can I say something?
Okay.
For viewing.
For viewing.
The request was made to only come in and inspect. They did not want copies. And as I explained to you in the email, if they decided I want copies of this, then they would be charged the 15 cents per page. Oh, sorry, 30. I saw 15 cents in here, so it'd be 30. 15 must be the minimum, I'm not sure.
Or
But
30?
30 cents per page. But as I said, the bigger concern is if there is something on a private computer, then I don't believe that is a reproduction expense. I think that's something that should have already been handed over potentially to the city to keep in their records as an arm of the city. So there wouldn't be a charge associated with that. They wouldn't have to, if it is on computers, private computers, then I would think that it wouldn't have to be printed. It could just be digitally sent by email to Jeannie or to, I guess, myself, John, so that it could be produced through the city. And that would cut down on any cost that you're concerned about.
And that's very easily achievable, but there are costs involved in doing that. There's time. I just saw a public records request from Diamond Head Water Sewer District for one-page PDF, and it was $18.95. I think our public records request from there was how much, Derek, we paid one time?
I don't recall offhand. It was.
How much was it?
It was quite a bit.
I don't remember, but that was challengeable, but nobody wanted to.
Challenged it.
Nobody wanted
Okay, so my thoughts on the Diamond Head Dog Park Steering Committee, and I'm speaking, why it was established. So we're at the point now where the dog park's ready to be built. We've got 2 developers ready to give us property that are viable sites. We realized the sites that we had, John, the ones that you sent and the steering committee went out and looked at, the best we could come up with was the duck pond, because the others were sitting out in the middle of the roads, or there was no good choice there. There was just, it was not good site. So the duck pond was where we were. Now we know we have two more doable sites. The dog park committee, is set up to get the dog park built. It was to work on funding. I'm going to have to say these people have worked hundreds, maybe thousands of hours in 2 years working on the dog park steering committee. They have worked endlessly hard trying to get the dog park built. They have put a lot of time, a lot of their own money, a lot of sweat in it. Do I believe steering committees are needed? I think we need less government in this country. I think we need less government in Diamond Head. I think we need to get the residents more involved. I'm all about steering committees. I think when we set one up, you all need to sit down and say, hey, you need minutes. Luckily, I'm a creature of, hey, everybody gets an 8.5 by 11 and we're having a meeting and we're going through the agenda, because I'm very oriented that way. I mean, I think you know me, you know that I'm that way. But you need to sit down with them when we set up a steering committee and say, hey, this is what we expect. You're doing the open public meetings records, and you need to have this. You all need to be the lead on that and say, this is what we're doing. Do we need community input? I don't want to be part of a city that doesn't allow the residents to be part of it. We shouldn't be dictators. It's our job to hear we work for the residents. We have 9,529 bosses. Everything we do should be in the best interest and in the interest of what the residents want. So I'm not about dissolving it. We're almost to the finish line. I think we let the steering committee finish the dog park. They have worked hard. They have earned it. We finish it out, and then we can dissolve it.
I have a question. So are you saying there are minutes that exist, or are there not?
There are minutes,
Okay.
Councilwoman Lisi. There is plenty of records. We have 2 years of stuff.
Okay, so there are minutes that can be readily provided for free, I guess, right, electronically? So what are these 2 locations that are available now?
I'll discuss them with the city manager. The developer has
Okay,
them.
see,
And
here's this part of the problem. The committee knows, you're gonna talk to him, but you're not talking to
the
us.
committee doesn't know. So the developer has to tell the city manager the specific locations. I personally don't know.
We haven't known anything that the committee is doing unless you come to tell us. And there's not an update, there's not anything, and like John said, they can still exist. It's just not under the umbrella of the city, and then it relieves the need to keep these records and take these minutes. So it's not trying to do away with them or any harm to the project or the dog park or any disrespect for their time or effort. I think everyone appreciates what they've done, but I think because we know all this now, this is a way to kind of clean this up. It's not been operating correctly. Has it?
Well, here's what I will say. I am not at the meetings, and so I don't know if it is operating correctly. I trust, as the mayor said, that she has been making sure that minutes are kept. But then I also would point out, Mayor, as you said, we should make sure and notify committees. But the only committee that I'm aware of that this applies to is the committee that I believe you're serving on. So I would think that they were well aware that they needed to have minutes, and then they have done that.
They were never told that, but I'm saying in future steering committee.
They were told, Mayor. In this council chambers, they were told.
The senior steering committee was. The senior steering committee was.
Then there's no difference between the 2 committees.
And you
So,
have to realize there was 2 years difference in that. But we're not going to argue tonight. I mean, if you
Mayor,
all want to dissolve it.
I don't think I want to dissolve it, but I do think what would maybe help both your committee and the notion that brought this, you know how on our council, each time we have department reports, and we never really go over them at council? Why don't we just add committee reports to that last page. And they'd just be
Exactly.
attached to the public minutes of our council, and this way you don't have to worry about anything. And we're not gonna actually go over them unless you wanna read, as your thing, but they'll be there available for the public to see online. Is that fair?
I think that would be fair. I think we're, though, and I may be missing a little bit of this, but I think that we're talking about two different things. I think that would be how you would move forward from this point, and then the issue still remains, as to Councilmember Cumberland's motion, should we dissolve the dog park committee? Now, should we dissolve all committees? I understand the dog park committee is the only committee that we're talking about here. So my answer would be, if the formation of any future committee is at the discretion of the city manager, there's nothing arguably to say that John could not set up a dog park committee in the future, and then the same would happen. But I think at the end of the day, what we are dealing with is the recommendations that the dog park has made have all been very valued and well thought out. And just because a committee is dissolved as an arm of the city does not mean that those individuals cannot continue to do exactly what they have done and to help make recommendations. But they just wouldn't be responsible for the record keeping that is currently required of them. And we wouldn't have a public records, if we had a public records request, the answer would be, they are not a city-sponsored committee, therefore we have no records responsive to that request.
And here's the biggest concern, because this is a great group of, and it could be any resident in Diamond Head. If you're willing to get out there and serve on a steering committee, here's the big concern I've got. These individuals, and this is what they all, and I explained to them today, now when they're out there acting as an individual, they're no longer under the city, they're not a city steering committee. So if they decide they want to go sit in front of Rouse's and collect money for the dog park, and if somebody says they gave them money and they said, no, we didn't get that check, and then they want to sue, and then say they want to do, sell things for the dog park, have a rummage sale, and it's not a city event, then they're out there on their own. And I've been right here at City Hall with residents being sued, the city being sued, and the residents have to pay their own legal fees for things. I don't want residents to serve individually to help the community and then put themselves out there for liability issues. That's the biggest fear I have, because I don't want any resident in Diamond Head that's out there working to be sued, and we know how attorneys are. No, nothing, just what I mean. Everybody, well, I'm just gonna say it, that, everybody's about suing one another, and it's very sad, but that's where we are today.
But just so I'm clear, you want to make sure that they can sue us also? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you mean?
What was your comment?
Well, I'm just asking, you want to make sure they're not sued individually, and I don't want them to be sued individually, but you're saying if someone's, out collecting money, losing checks, whatever, you want to make sure we can be sued also?
No, because we do not collect money now. We don't do anything on our own. If we're at the dog park day, we have city employees there that are bonded.
I just thought that's what you said, so I was confused.
Right.
Yeah, you're very confused.
I think, I understand where you got that impression, but I think we're kind of off in a different direction. What I'm trying to say, again, is you gave two different examples. One example is if there is a city-sponsored garage sale.
Not
A garage
city-sponsored,
sale.
just a garage sale.
Okay, well, if there is a garage sale, and they can hold it, and then they can choose to take whatever funds that are obtained in the garage sale, and they can donate it to the city as directed and direct that it goes to the dog park fund. But if they have a city-sponsored garage sale, at that point then, that is where we talk about whether there is liability and whether that would apply to the individuals.
So there's a lot of organizations in the city that do a lot of good things. The Lions Club, We
Mhm.
help the Lions Club out, don't we? When they do a walk, don't we help work with them?
We
They
haven't
work
had
with-
one.
Huh?
We haven't had one in a few years, but we're working
Yeah.
on one.
Well, we used to. I remember when they had it, and we would put up barricades, and the city would help. And Cruising the Coast, that's an organization that, I mean, it's a city-sponsored event, but we work closely with them. We work well with them. I think there's a lot of examples of where we work well with other committees, and I can't see how you guys would not welcome this as it just making things easier for you. And we all appreciate everything you've done, and I just want to help you. That's all this motion's about, is to help you and to protect the city.
Okay, is there any more discussion?
Well, I just want it to be clear. So your motion is to say, keep the dog park committee, but don't make it an arm of the city.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the dog park committee, I don't see how it would go away. I know that was one of the things that that was one of her fear, is John trying to abolish the dog park committee, and that's not the case at all. I was just trying to help protect them and protect the city at the same time, make things easier for them.
And city attorney, you think that it would be able to operate as a dog park committee without being an arm of the city and still kind of function exactly as it is?
They can come to the council meeting and say, hey, council, we have an idea, here it is, just as they're doing now.
Okay.
Are we putting these residents in any risk of liability?
Not in my opinion.
So anything they do, they won't be sued.
That's not what I said.
Good job. Okay, with that being said, let's do a roll call. City Clerk?
Finley,
Yes.
Lisi,
Yes.
Cumberland,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Mar,
Yes.
Mayor.
I'm a no. All right, with that being said, moving on to claims payable. Dog Park Committee, we thank you very much for your hard
Yes,
work.
thank
And
you.
if you want to
Absolutely.
continue as the Dog Park Committee, that's fine. If you don't, we totally understand.
So does the money that we've already raised stay with the city, or do we get it?
It's in the, it's
I-
in,
The money that has already been raised, the question of the money that's already been raised.
Okay, so that's an easy answer. So the money that was raised is in a special account designated for the dog park. If you are intending to ask for your individual funds back, then at that point, you would make a request to the city, and the city would have to come to the council and ask for approval to return your money to you, each individual who donated money. But again, just because the council voted to dissolve the committee as an arm of the city does not mean that the dog park is no longer on the agenda, on the plan for the city. So the dog park committee could not in and of itself say, hey, we've raised, I'm making a number up, $12,000. We want $12,000 back. But if Sam Smith came in and said, I gave $100, I want my $100 back, then that would come before the council, and the council would say, yes, that's actually already happened in one instance, and the money was refunded.
There's a lot of instances people are very upset. Very upset.
Why? You still have the committee?
It's been years and there's
Oh,
no
yeah.
dog park. We don't even have any ground to break.
And I gotta agree with you.
We were gonna do this, we were gonna do that.
I feel like this is gonna help move it faster.
Well, first of all, I want,
It's
Barbara
not.
Gibbons, we held all of our dog park meetings here on the activity room. And when we had our meetings, the last time we had, we would ask dog park steering committee meeting held Thursday, January 19th at 6 p.m. in the activity room, please attend. It was not a closed meeting, and all the meetings we had, Nancy emphasized, any kind of cash, checks, whatever, have to be given to the office, and we would put the money
And you all have been a tremendous asset, and I think and we've got new members up here that hasn't seen the whole 2 years of what you've worked on, but you've worked very hard. And Dog Park Day, that doesn't happen overnight. That is a 4-month, every Thursday meeting to make that day happen. They work 4 months ahead of the Dog Park Day every Thursday to make that event happen. So that's not something you can just get 2 people to throw together and go out there and do. It's a lot
No,
of
ma'am.
work.
None of those events are.
No.
I can answer that, Ms. Barber. I would be, as Mr. Finley has put task to me, is that the administration takes care of this project, and that's what I'm doing. So that is what I'm in the middle of, trying to make this project work and get it going and get it built.
And one councilman can't direct the city manager. So we all are directing the city manager to make it work.
And just because you're still a dog park committee, you can still come to the city activity center and use it. It's not like that's being taken away or anything. Nothing has changed except for the relationship of getting the minutes and the open meeting thing really is what this is all about, so that you don't have to worry about keeping minutes available on a regular basis. Basically, everything else stays the same. Am I right?
Absolutely.
So question for you. I know the concerns are about the money that they have in the city's account. Is it possible for them to open up an account at one of the banks and put that money somewhere there, or no?
Once funds are donated to the city, they become city funds and they have to be spent accordingly.
They have to be spent on that
They
project.
can't be spent
So
on
it's
anything
still going to the
else.
dog park for sure?
Yeah, they're
Absolutely.
earmarked.
That's all
Oh,
it can go to.
100%.
Okay.
And we have a complete list. Mayor DePrio has sent, I think, to the previous comptroller, donations that were taken at that point. And I have a complete list, and I have a general ledger report that I print out that balances, so, yes.
Well, I have no desire to get any of my money back that I put towards it, so just keep it all, okay? And I do have money towards it too.
We've got
Rouse's
2
as well.
developers that are really going to move this. I mean, they both are engaged in the dog park. So we've got 2 acres of wooded property that can be cleared and used, and then we've got property that I'm not sure Woody's got that can be utilized. Okay, so we've got 2 people reaching out, ready to help. So claims payable, motion to approve docket of claims DKT 231050, DKT 231094 in the amount of $591,052.96. Motion made by Councilman Clark, second.
Second.
Second made by Councilman Cumberland. All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve payroll payables, PR claim 10170 in the amount of $2,223.58. PR claim 010171 in the amount of $29,084.41. PR claim 010172 in the amount of $29,043.93, and PR and claims DKT 231040 through DKT 301049 in the amount of $46,607.52. Motion? Motion Clark, second.
Move.
Second John, all in favor? Aye. Department reports, motion to approve department reports A and financial C. Motion?
Move.
Motion Finley, second.
Second.
Lisi, all in favor? Aye. Is there any need for an executive session?
No, ma'am.
Motion to adjourn? Oh, yes, the docket. So I added that to the consent agenda. I did. He got approved on the consent agenda. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Motion made by Councilman Clark, second.
Second.
Second Cumberland, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming out tonight, and thank you, Tammy Garber, for adding all that at the last minute and keeping us